You just can't create it. You can't create the spontaneity. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in here to our final all-access pass of the Rock and Romance Cruise. As always, I am your cruise host, Jason, and today I am joined by three absolute legends in the musical game. These three guys right here make up, along with two others, which we'll talk about in a moment, they make up Generation Radio. Please help me welcome our guys. Before we get too far into this, I like to start by just saying thank you. Thank you not only for accepting the cruise and coming out to be with us for all of us, but thank you also for taking the time to come up and do a quick interview. We do appreciate you very much for chatting and answering some questions. You guys are a supergroup. You are the definition of a supergroup. Which one of you wants to, and actually, I apologize. Let's step back. Let's do this correctly. To my left, right here, this man, Jay DeMarcus. Many of you know and love this man. Founder of Rascal Flatts.
Thank you.
Absolute legend. Next to Jay, Jason Scheff, the bassist and lead singer of Chicago. Replaced Peter Cetera and has been there ever since for at least 2-3 years. And down at the end, I had to write him down because there was just too many to be like, hey, he's just from one band. Now, Steve Ferrone, if you're not familiar individually, which I know you are, but just in case you're not, Average White Band, Tom Petty, Duran Duran, Stevie Nicks, Chaka Khan, Eric Clapton, Bee Gees, Johnny Cash, on and on and on and on this man goes. Steve Ferrone right down at the end.
And I have the dirt on all of them, too.
You know where the bodies are buried, I hear, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Who wants to tell us how Generation Radio started? Oh, Jay, all right, you're up, buddy.
Generation Radio started during the pandemic. All of our tours got canceled. Rascal Flatts was supposed to be on a farewell tour, so I got bored and started calling up some of my friends. I've got a studio in my house, and I said, why don't y'all come over and let's see if we can write a little bit and get in the studio and record some music. And so Jason was the first person that I called, and when the band originally started, we had Dean Castronovo in it from Journey. And he was playing drums, and Journey saw him playing drums with us on a few gigs, and they got pissed and brought him back to
Jealousy. It's an ugly trait.
We auditioned Dean back into the band, as Jason likes to say. So we called Steve up, and we didn't skip a beat. And it's been a pleasure to play in a band with two of my heroes, you know?
That's very cool. And we're missing two guys up here. Tell us about your other two.
Yeah, so the other two guys I've known for a long, long time. Tom Yankton just had a baby today, in fact, and he's not. Well, his wife did. He didn't have the baby.
You never know now.
You never know.
Yeah,
you never know. Apparently, we've changed the laws of biology.
Yeah.
So he did not join us. Yeah. We've got a guy filling in named Trey Hill that's a friend of mine from Nashville that is an amazingly talented guitarist as well. And then Chris Rodriguez I've known for 30 years. He's toured with everybody. He plays in the studio. He's played with everybody from Peter Cetera to Kenny Loggins to Megadeth to Amy Grant. He's played for the Devil and God.
I was going to say, that's quite the, played for the Devil and God.
Yeah. So it's great to have those guys because they're consummate pros. And, man, it's wonderful to stand up there every night and play, you know, the catalog of hits that everybody's been a part of. It's really cool.
Is it as much fun up there? I know you just kind of touched on it, but is it as much fun up there internally for you guys as it looks like from an audience perspective?
Yes. Yeah, it's people have been coming up. First of all, it's so great to be back on the cruise. I love, and I, you know, we're gonna get real here. I've done this a couple times with you, so I get very real here. So I'm gonna out my buddies here and tell you how much they were grumbling about coming on a cruise. And I said, but you watch and see. You watch and see. This one is so cool. And within actually after the
production meeting.
The safety meeting.
Yeah, the production meeting.
Both these guys were like, man, this is pretty cool. And then I've won them over. You've won them over. They had a great time.
In my defense, I was worried about being the only country guy on a 70s rock and romance tour.
That's fair. That's fair.
Thank you all for welcoming me with open arms. I appreciate it. It's been great.
But So I just wanted to say real quickly, a lot of you have been coming up and saying, it just looks like you're having so much fun up there. And I said, you know, we're not really that great of actors, so you're right. It's really...
How about you, sir? How about you, Steve?
Well, this is my first cruise ever.
We got a virgin.
And I was a little bit
You have every
worried
right to
about
be.
it because the last time my people took a free cruise, it was
Ended a little differently.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist it. I just couldn't resist it.
There was a piece of you that thought we were going to ask you to row, right? Yeah, come on, man. Come on.
That wasn't the problem, it's what happened afterwards.
Yeah, it was, fair enough. Fair enough. If the ice isn't broken now, it's not going to be, for the record.
So we're getting real
Good night,
here.
everybody.
Yeah, have fun.
Good night.
I told you we're getting real here.
you know, I mean,
Killer line.
I got to say, I mean, you know, my father was from Sierra Leone, and
Oh,
Sierra
yeah.
Leone was the
Yeah.
sort of staging point for all that stuff. But yeah, it's a beautiful boat, isn't it? And, you know, I haven't slept so well in such a long time.
It's
I just kind of get in the bed and I wake up and the sea's sort of going by. Go back to sleep again.
living the life of a rock star over there.
That's
Yeah. So at what point when you guys were jamming in your studio, in your house, and just having fun, did you realize this was something more than just a garage band, for lack of better terms?
I think when we started listening back to some of the music we were recording, and we were sitting behind the console, and we were going, "Man, this is kind of good. Like this is something we could take out and do some of our hits and put a record out." And we weren't doing anything else. God knows, you know, with the pandemic going on, we were all kind of landlocked. So the more we recorded together, the more we worked together. Jason and I have been friends close to 30 years. He was in my wedding. I mean, we've just shared a lot together over the years. I produced Chicago 30, and so creatively, we've always been on similar pages and with similar influences. And even though I played in a country band for 22 plus years, I grew up on 70s and 80s rock and roll because my dad was also a musician. So I had a wealth of knowledge growing up from all the great records that my dad exposed me to at a younger age. So it was amazing to be able to explore all of those different things stylistically with making music with Generation Radio. You know, with Rascal Flatts, you're sort of locked into what country music is doing and where country is. And so it was a great freedom for me to be able to explore a different place, a different space.
Makes total sense, yeah.
I was going to say that he's always been talking about, since we met in 2002, I think it was, Jay's always been saying, when things calm down after these incredible runs that we're on with bands like Rascal Flatts and Chicago, he says, let's do something together. He's been talking about this really the entire time we've been together. So the seed was planted a long time ago. And then we've worked on a bunch of stuff. Like I said, you know, he said Chicago 30 was really the product of us starting to write songs, and the opportunity came up to make a record. But I just wanted to share one cool moment for me is when Rascal Flatts was first starting to take off. Jay, he brought me out on the road, and so we were all riding on the same bus at that time. It was really beautiful. Rascal Flatts was real. It was the third album, I think. You guys were ready to start recording the third album. He said, "Man, we learned Will You Still Love Me, you know, to come up on stage with us tonight." And I was really worried, going, this is like a modern, you know, super successful country group, and they're just going to be like looking at like, who's this old man walking up on stage? I was always the young guy, but now all of a sudden this, you know, guess what? You're becoming an elder. and all of a sudden, I really saw, and this was so wonderful to see what was happening in music, was I walked out, and that entire 16,000 people in the audience knew the words and were singing along with me.
Yeah.
And I thought, whoa. And then when they finished their show and went into an encore, they would do covers like You Shook Me All Night Long, AC/DC. And that's when I realized they're not country fans, they're music fans. Yeah. Just like this, you know.
You know, You said a moment ago that you were concerned being the only country guy. But I will say, and I've said this on every cruise we've done, on every charter we've done. If a random person walks up and does a cover of a Rascal Flatts song, that doesn't go over great. But if the guy who wrote and/or sang the song comes and sings the song, music fans will love it. That's really what I've found is, within reason, you're the guy. So it's not only is it acceptable, it's appreciated, it's enjoyed. So I appreciate what you're saying, but there's nothing like hearing the man or woman who wrote or sang the song sing the song. You know, there's something to be said for that.
Thank you.
Steve, when you got the call to step in, to come in and perform with them, first of all, did you think it was real? Did you think someone was pulling your leg? And secondly, when you showed up, what did you think about what they had going on?
Well, I knew it was real.
Okay.
They don't call me if it's not real.
A man of your stature, I understand, yes.
But well, look, Jason and I have been friends for decades, right? And they sent me the tapes of the show to learn, and I was just struck how strong this band is vocally. You know, I didn't even tell Jay this yet. I mean, he's sitting over there blushing now, probably.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Or is that suntan? It might be a suntan. But and you know, coming from working with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, was the band that has a lot of hit records, as you guys know.
You can applaud that.
Yeah.
You can applaud that. I mean, that's royalty.
I think
That's royalty.
One of the greatest songwriters there was around.
All time.
You know, just an amazing guy, amazing songwriter, and he loved his fans, and these guys, they love their fans, you know, and yeah, we come here for you. We don't come here for us. It's always so, like you say, to see people suddenly start. They're singing along.
Yeah.
Or, you know, they start to sing those songs, and though it's great to do that, but also they had a new album too. New album, original material. Just because you got a big following for a certain amount of songs doesn't stop you from being an artist, and that's what I love about these guys. They're artists, true artists, and it's a pleasure for me to play with you guys, and it's an honor and a pleasure to play.
An honor
with you.
and a pleasure and
Yes,
an
that's
honor.
Yes,
right.
it is.
It's a pleasure. Yes.
I taught you well, Obi-Wan.
In fact, I got to tell that story. So Tom Yankton, whose daughter was just born, we played our first night, and his sense of humor is so funny, man. We're standing on the side of the stage, and Yankton comes up and says, "I'll just have to tell you guys, it's kind of an out-of-body experience for me, man, just, you know, playing with you guys. And I just have to tell you, it's a privilege and an honor to play with you." And he goes, "Yes, it is."
I hope you did it straight-faced, too, and then just
Absolutely.
100%.
let him sit with that for a split
We
second.
laugh so hard at that. Yankton loves it.
You should have seen his face too.
Yes, it is. That sounds about right.
Yeah, exactly. I
Can I
bow.
also
bow.
add one little quick thing about what he
Absolutely.
just said? When you said, what was it like when you got the call? First of all, as he said, we've known each other for so long. This guy doesn't just toss roses and like gratuitously say, "Oh, I love, you know, what you're doing and you're great and everything." You know if he loves you or not, but he's not going to be sitting there saying, you know, he doesn't throw compliments out just for the sake of it. So when we called him to do this, it's asking him to do as much of a favor as the other way around.
Absolutely.
And he, oh my goodness.
Tell it.
So
Out with it. Come on.
I'm like completely losing my thought. Jay's looking at me like, where are you going with
You are
this?
the old man now. Come on, put
I
it together. Let's go.
Wake up, Jason. You're
Yeah.
in an interview.
Totally, yeah.
You're on a ship. We're
What?
live audience.
What's going here? No, so it really was that he doesn't have to do this. You know, this is like Eric Clapton's calling this guy. You know, George Harrison's calling him, and he's, you know, he picks and chooses. So I was really, honored when he said he'd come and play with us.
Yeah.
And like he was talking about, we feel the same way. And the last thing is he said, I'm not interested in coming and just being in a band that's playing their old hits. The fact you guys are making new music excites me. And I love that. I love being part of people who want to create new stuff.
Which is news that we're doing a new record right now that Steve will be on this time. So
There we go.
yeah.
You gonna buy it? You're gonna buy it, right? None of that like downloading stuff.
Funny enough,
I'm gonna get everybody's name and address and phone number before I leave.
if you could all sign the roster sheet on your way out, please, we would appreciate that. You're on the mailing list. As we go, just so you guys know, and Jason, you'll remember this, my wife comes out before the interview, and she passes around question cards. And so the audience gets a chance to communicate with you guys directly, and then I get to pull out the ones I don't like and read you the ones that are good. Just kidding. David Green joins us from Denville. How do you guys prepare for your shows? What's the rehearsal routine like when you're a supergroup?
Well, that's a good question. Thank you for that. We usually take a day in Nashville or maybe even in the venue that we're going to play the next night, and we run the material again just to make sure that it's fresh. We've got certain arrangements we've been working on over the last 4 years, so it's really not that hard to put a new set together and kind of remember where we are and where everybody's place is. The thing about us is we maybe only do 20 or 25 shows a year because everybody's got other things going on. So we do take a few hours before we head out and just kind of brush up and make sure everybody still knows what they're doing.
And is the show that was last night and again tonight, is that a normal show that you guys are doing on tour, or is that something you built specifically because this is a 70s cruise?
We built that set specifically for this cruise.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So.
And with the history that all three of you have, how do you decide what songs to do and how many of them, et cetera, et cetera?
I don't. I'm just a humble drummer.
You're just the drummer. Just keep time,
I sit there
sir.
and I say, yeah, okay.
You know, all the years, you know, that I toured with Chicago, somebody asked me this the other day. Robert Lamb and Jimmy Pankow and Champlin, to a degree, were always great at putting sets together. So I never, if you have that, I'd stay in my lane. This guy has been really putting Rascal Flatts shows and sets together, so he really has a big hand in all that with what we do.
Let's tell them what we're doing.
Yeah, listen. Look at these guys. Someone clearly has to tell them what is going on at any given time.
Wake up.
I can tell they need a leader. People don't understand. That's rude to say. It's often difficult to understand wholeheartedly. It's not easy to build a set list. A set list is a living, breathing thing, and there is an energy level in a set list. There's the right off the bat, and then there's something in the middle, and it's not unlike any entertainment, a movie, a TV show. It all has a similar flow to it. You have to have some peaks and some valleys. You have to bring people back down. So if you are building these set lists, I want people to understand with the monster. With all of the hits available, especially between the five of you, not to mention you three with the hundreds of top hits, that is not an easy production. And that's impressive.
No, going through the list of songs and trying to pick and choose which ones will go in the set, knowing that not everybody's going to be happy all the time is a monumental task. Yeah. But hopefully we put the right things in there to take everybody on a nice emotional ride, you know, with its peaks and valleys, and then send them out with a good, you know, there's no better way to end than with 25 or 6-4. You know, I mean, where do you go from there? So.
And I assume because you've known Chef the longest, if you have to disappoint someone, it might as well be him because he's not going anywhere. Yeah.
We used to be friends until we got in a band
fine.
together.
That's fair enough. I mean, no one dare upset the mighty Steve Ferroni, so it might as well be Chef if you're going to upset someone.
That's right.
You've got that right.
Why would you? Yeah, I mean, the man has played with everyone. Like you said, if he gets calls from everybody, that means he can leave.
Oh, yeah.
It's good to have options, right, Steve? It's good to have options, right?
Hey, he just
Phone's always on, yeah.
Hey, he just played with Bob Dylan at Farm Aid.
Yeah.
Recently.
Drop.
You know? Come on, man.
That's incredible, man. That's incredible. Jody, who comes to us from Illinois, I've been friends with Jason for many, many years. Many, many years. Jason, if you don't mind, I know we already talked about half of the question, but how did you meet Jay DeMarcus?
Well, I was playing at the Washington State Fair in Puyallup, Washington, outside.
Yallop, yep.
Did I? Puyallup. I'm sorry.
Just say
Pew.
Puyallup. Just say Puyallup, it's fine.
I love to be corrected.
From random people
So,
in the 12th row. Yeah.
Jay, is that you out there? Jay? Jay? What, Jay? Puyallup, I'm sorry, Daddy. Did I upset you?
Just cut another couple Chicago
So-
songs. You're fine.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
cut another couple Chicago songs.
So I showed up at this venue, and there was a lady who ran the backstage area, and I showed up this one year, 2002, I think, and she said, "Jason, you know who Rascal Flatts are?" I said, "No." And she goes, because I was not a country fan, really, and she said,
Neither am I.
I said,
Oops.
you know, she says, well, they're a band that's really starting to take off. And I said, oh, great. And she said, and they're huge fans of you guys. They sold the grandstand out here a couple nights ago and mentioned you guys on stage. They were so excited you're going to be here. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. And she said, and Jay wanted me to give you this note, gave me this on a yellow legal pad paper. And I'm expecting to open it up. Dear Chicago, gotten a lot of these over the years. And this was the moment that actually somebody who was the next generation coming up acknowledged me personally and said, "Dear Jason, I'm from a band called Rascal Flatts and huge Chicago fan. You guys are the reason I play music. And I wanted to know if you'd love to, if you'd like to write with me. I'm a Sony writer. We're going to go in and make our third record." And I'm going, I haven't written a song in years. And I'm not really a country fan, so this is very sweet and everything.
This is how you've let down dates your entire. I mean, it's very sweet. I
It's a
appreciate.
sweet sentiment. So there was a video
It's
out.
not you, it's me.
There's a video. There's a video out. So I asked Keith, our guitar player. I said, "Do you know who Rascal Flatts are?" And he goes, "If that's who I'm thinking of, man, they're starting to really heat up." And I'm getting a little more interested. Oh well, there might be some opportunity here. Maybe I'll have to get into country music. And he goes, "Yeah." And he goes, there's a video out right now that's really controversial. The guitar player shows his ass in the video. And I'm going, "Really?" I said, "Well, we were going on at 8:05, and so I said, put country music television on. Maybe we can see the guitar player's ass, And so,
Interesting that's what got him to focus.
yeah,
was another man's
okay,
ass.
we're learning things here.
We're learning things about
He didn't want to write the song, he wanted to see the butt.
You wanted to see.
And sure enough, we put it on, and there was a teaser that came on probably about 10 minutes to the hour, and I'm looking at all this other stuff and I'm going, okay, this is nice, but it's not really my thing. And all of a sudden, this band comes on with these modern haircuts, and the sound was so, pop music mixed with country and R&B. Stay tuned for the top of the hour for Rascal Flatts, Melt at the Beach. I'm going, whoa! I got on the phone so fast. Jay, what's up, buddy? Hey, man! I love country. Let's write, man. And I finished.
Count me in.
We finished the show, and I got off stage, and the lady was beaming, came up to me and said, "Jay called me and was so over the moon, said the fact you called him." So Jay and I went back and forth on the phone for a couple days and finally connected, and we have been inseparable since then.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Tell us about the last great love letter you got from a band, Steve. Who you said you just played with Dylan. That's unbelievable. You're talking.
I got to say, first of all, a disclaimer: there were no naked guitarist butts in my history whatsoever. Although I have looked at a lot of butts on the stage just from where I
For
sit.
being a drummer, yeah. That's all you get. That's
I
all
know,
you
and-
get.
Yeah, and I got to say, all these guys are great songwriters and great artists and everything, but they're butts. All I can say is thank God for Shaka Khan. I feel for you.
You like that song, I Feel For You, Shaka Khan?
Oh,
That's him on drums right there, baby. It is.
Yeah, they say it's a drum machine. I say you're talking to it. Well, you know, Bob Dylan wasn't exactly cool. I mean, I was playing with the Dirty Knobs with Mike Campbell, and
yeah.
I started that band, got fired from that band because Tom Petty told Mike, you know, that's my band that you're using, you know, and so, you know, you can't use them anymore. So he had to get whole nother band, and then I got rehired. They took me back.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And we were getting ready to go out on tour, and I guess management kind of hooked up this thing where, you know, get to play with Bob Dylan, you know, and that was interesting.
I was gonna say that's got to be intriguing to say the least.
It can be very interesting.
Yeah.
Because he's a kind of a special fellow.
Yeah,
that Bob
that's a
Dylan.
great word for it.
Yeah. And you know what amazed me was it was the first time that he played guitar in years, apparently. And I didn't know that. But all these people, and they lit up the internet, was like, oh, he's played guitar, he hasn't played the guitar. Apparently he's just sat there playing the keyboards for years and everything, you know. So, but it was, I've got an amazing response.
Very cool.
And it was really, really crazy.
I mean, you've clearly been part of a lot of musical history. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
I love. I keep using the same phrase, and I just can't help it on a cruise like this with so many people who've done so many amazing things, like you three, and I mean all the other interviews I've had. It's fingerprints on musical history. You know, it's touch pointing. It's being a part of so many different things, and so thank you to all three of you. Thank you for all that you've provided and done for all of us as fans. It's amazing.
If I may say something, you know, I'm not really known for country music playing myself. That's
You didn't like it either. Yeah, fair enough.
No, not that I didn't. It's not that I didn't like it. I mean, it's
Jason
you know,
didn't like it.
Oh, sorry.
My mom was a big Jim Reeves fan.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, she loved Jim Reeves.
Yeah,
It's amazing. One day I got sort of started in like playing R&B, and then I sort of went to rock and roll, you know, and then as I was playing more and more rock and roll with Tom Petty, I got introduced to a lot of different people.
Sure.
And Johnny Cash was one of those people that I got to record with. What a gentleman! What a gentleman! He was a wonderful, wonderful man, and that was a pretty good introduction to country music.
I'd say so. Yeah, you step right into.
But I like country music. I really, I go and see the time. Anybody know anything about Nashville here? Anybody been to see?
Nashville fans, yeah.
Anybody seen the Time Jumpers? Anybody seen those guys?
Yeah.
You know about them, right? It's country swing at its best. Those guys are the greatest. If you ever get a Monday night in Nashville, if you go and see this band, the Time Jumpers, let's look them up on the internet. You do know how to use a computer, right? Hey, I'm probably older than you. I'm just kind of like, you know, I'm kind of slow with that stuff myself. But they play every Monday night in Nashville. If you ever get a chance to go there on a Monday night in Nashville, go see them. Time Jumpers, the best country swing that you'll ever see. Really, really great.
Thank you for sharing. I thought you were going to
He looks like he's ready.
Yeah, Jay looks like he's about to jump in there.
No.
I'm pretty. I just want to say I'm pretty intrigued by from Johnny Cash to Cut the Cake, Average White Band.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Cut the Cake right there, people. I'm telling you.
Knowing that this man had toured and played with Johnny Cash, was that a moment for you?
No, it wasn't.
The love up here is pretty amazing for three guys that pretend to like each other, like every other band in history.
I'm kidding. I tell you what was a moment for me was looking over my shoulder and seeing Steve back on drums, and just the honor of being able to stand there with all of the musical history that this man has. I mean, it's very rare. That's what I love about music too. There's a power of music that binds people together, even though they have different backgrounds and different stylistically different tendencies. We're a band that proves that you can take a country guy and a guy that was in a jazz rock band for 470 years, and a guy who's played some of my favorite records as a studio musician, put them all on stage together, and they have this commonality. And really, honestly, that's the kind of power the world needs more of, because we take each other from all of our different backgrounds. We all feel differently about the world. We come from different parts of the world, but you take those 90 minutes and put people in a room that love music and love the songs that are coming off the stage, and you find common ground. And that's really, not to get on a soapbox, but that's really what's wrong with the world today, is we don't have enough common ground. And that's what I love about music. And that's why today I'm going to announce that I'm running for president this year.
International waters. International waters doesn't count till tomorrow morning.
But hey, why not vote for me? I can't be any worse than the other two options we have.
Would you consider me for a vice president?
There you go. There you go.
That's
And
it.
you got a Secretary of State right there in the middle, or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Treasurer, maybe something. They'll find something for you, Chef. Don't worry about it. They'll find something for you. Amy, who comes from New York City / Florida. I think that's like most of Florida. Jay, do you remember? I read this the wrong way. Jay, do you remember playing with Rascal Flatts? Then there's more. I didn't see the rest of it. Do you remember playing with Rascal Flatts at the World Trade Center 10 days before?
Yes, is that you? Oh, I love your hair. It's amazing.
Amy's always had that hair.
I'm going to tell you something weird about that. I remember it vividly, like it was yesterday. We were the last band to ever play on the Plaza. The stage was still standing when the planes hit the Twin Towers. And if you go to the 9/11 Museum, you can still see that stage with, it's torn up and there's rubble all around. And we stayed in that Marriott, which was World Trade Center number 7 at that point in time. And so it is a memory that will be with me for the rest of my life. And we actually took the tour to the North Tower where the antenna was. The security guy that ended up passing away that day took us up there, and we were looking down on the clouds in New York City. And Gary, my cousin who sang lead for Rascal Flatts, looks over. 2 of you guys like him? Yeah. That's awesome.
That's why you're in Generation Radio now.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. No, we were looking down on the clouds, and I was up there with Gary, and he goes, "Man, it's amazing. We're so high up here that a plane has never hit one of these before."
Oh my gosh.
So he's
This is why only 2 people like Gary.
I think he's on a terror watch list now.
And he should be.
So
I mean, yeah.
I'm not really sure.
Well, listen,
but
when you become president, you can do
Right,
something
there we
about
go.
him.
Yeah.
Put him away immediately.
That is a true story, though, and it's
Wow.
yes, I do remember that very well.
Diana from Ohio for Mr. Chef. Oh, you are the elder statesman on board now. When will your new album be coming out? And were you able to golf in Aruba?
No golf in Aruba. We were just talking about this the other night because there's, like Jay's said and Steve said, we're talking about getting our next generation radio record in motion and to put out. And so I've been really trying to schedule what I'm doing around all that so that that everything can complement itself. So I'm not sure when an actual album will come out, but I am excited that I've got a handful of things, as some of you know, and I've been really working with. My vision is to work with some of the greatest artists, meaning, like Picasso's, Mozart's,
You're welcome.
DeMarcus's, Ferroni's.
Michelangelo's, people who have created Mona Lisas, basically. So the Michael O'Mardians, who produced Christopher Cross's breakout record. Yeah. He produced with Sailing, Peter Cetera, Next Time I Fall, and Glory of Love. That's Michael O'Mardian. Jay's known, he was actually a big fixture in the Christian music world, and so he's always been in our orbit. He, along with Bill Schnee, who has produced and mixed, including Hard to Say I'm Sorry for Chicago, but all the Pablo Cruz and
Pablo.
Yeah, and Huey Lewis and the News records. So I'm working with those guys. Steve's on some of the tracks, and I'm just trying to fit it all in. So
Jason released a solo record about 7 years ago that I actually loved. It was called Here I Am. That was incredible.
that Jay produced.
Out of
Oh, I didn't want to.
I didn't want it. Oh, I wasn't gonna.
I didn't want to.
out of curiosity, why'd you put the word "actually" in that sentence? I actually loved. Like, did it
Actually-
shock you?
actually
Did it
loved.
shock
Shocked.
you that you loved it? Is
Yeah.
that what-
I loved a record Jason
Yeah, I
put out. Well, you
actually
produced
enjoyed
it. Oh well.
Now it's fantastic.
It's not why I said that.
Bill comes from Florida. I saw Jason with Chicago when he first replaced Peter Cetera. How was it to fit into such a well-established band and replace their co-founder and lead singer that everybody knew and loved?
It was crazy. People have asked me, how did you even follow through that? And the truth of the matter is that I didn't have any expectations it was going to work. I thought, there's no way this is going to work. And I think that worked in my favor because I didn't walk in saying, I've got to make this happen. I'm going, this is going to be over. Like, one of these things, the other shoe's going to drop at some point. But as we all talk, and I've talked to a lot of the people on the boat here too, is that there comes a moment where you're going to be in the batter's box, and it's all on the line, and you're either going to feel comfortable or not. And it was just crazy how when I walked in for the first day of vocals on Chicago 18, and there's David Foster and Humberto Gatica, who were dominating pop radio at the time, along with Steve Ferrone's records he was making. And I thought, these guys are going to chew me up and spit me out. But something happened when the tape started rolling that I settled and felt comfortable. And then it just all worked. It all worked. So I just kept going until I crashed and burned. And luckily, Will You Still Love Me, one of the biggest hits Chicago's had, number 3, and that was out of the box. So I went, I guess I get to stick around for a while.
They'll keep you.
Yeah.
Linda followed that up. Linda from Ohio followed it up with saying, Jason, do you remember the 2022 cruise? Still during COVID, just at the end of COVID there. You came on the stage, and the first thing you said was, thank God, after 5,000 COVID tests, we still made it here.
That was tough, wasn't it? We had to jump through a lot of hoops.
There's a lot of swabs happening on that one. Last two questions are actually for all three of you. Joe says, for any of you that do play more than one instrument, in terms of what you've ever learned to play instrumentally, what are the most difficult instruments? Go ahead, Jay.
I grew up in the kind of family that you had to kind of learn how to play a little something on everything. We'd get together and have these family gatherings where we would sit around and play. If there was a guitar sitting there, you had to kind of learn how to play it, or piano or bass. And I started out playing drums when I was probably 7 or 8 years old. And I kind of got bored with that because you couldn't really write songs on it. It wasn't a melodic instrument. I loved it, but...
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Now he's treading on drummers aren't musicians.
Hey, that's not...
Fight. Lower playground.
That is absolutely not what I mean, or not what I'm saying at all.
Steve is staring at you now, so be careful what words you choose
I realized
next.
I was not cut out to be a drummer.
Better.
Is that better, Steve?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
It's a privilege and an honor.
It's a privilege and an honor.
Yes, it is. It's a privilege and an honor.
He's obviously heard me play at Soundcheck. So I enjoyed playing. My dad was a wonderful multi-instrumentalist. He was a great piano player, a great guitar player. And I loved the bass guitar. It came very natural to me, and I loved playing with my dad. So my next instrument was bass, and I learned how to play bass. And then I picked up piano and keyboards for him, and then I went on to go to college on a music scholarship. So the hardest instrument for me to figure out how to play actually was guitar, because not a lot of it makes sense in how it's tuned up and down the fretboard. And so you really have to get used to it and how it's laid out. But piano would probably be second most difficult. Bass is so easy. I mean, I
It's
guess...
only one string.
There's only one string, right?
Only
Now.
one string. Anybody can do it.
But Jason plays multi-instruments too. So, I mean, it is fun to jump around. And I played bass with Rascal Flatts for all of those years. And I love it. And it's really another fun thing for me being in this band to be able to live in a different world
Yeah.
and play keys now. So.
Sure.
What about you?
Well, I only play the drums.
Only?
Only. That's all I do is I play the drums. And I started that. Actually, when I was a little kid, I used to beat on my high chair. We talk about the radio. That we had just tube radio back in there. That's all we had. We didn't have TV. We had radio. When I was, we sit and listen to the radio, and I had my spoon, and the music would come on, and my grandmother said, "I'll be danged, he's beating that stuff in time."
He's keeping time.
Yeah. So we got to do something with him. I know. Send him to tap dancing school.
Would you like to do a little something for us, sir? Yeah.
I got flip-flops on, otherwise I would.
Well, so I became a pretty good tap dancer. And when I was 12 years old, I got onto the stage to do a summer show with an English actually he was a sort of personality, TV personality, big star named Max Bygraves. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of him. There you go, he's a Max Bygraves. Scottish, you know Max Bygraves.
Same guy who likes Jay's cousin.
So I actually went on the London Palladium with him.
Oh, very cool.
But I did during the summer show. I was up there when we were doing this thing, Twist. So there was all these little kids, 12-year-old kids, all sitting there. Let's twist again,
Chubby.
like we did. And I looked down into the orchestra pit and I saw this drummer, and I saw him going. So I learned how to do that, and then I listened every night. I go out there and I listen. I got the feet together. And I did that on the feet. And then the next song that I learned was Take 5.
Oh.
Just made a leap to Take 5.
Right away.
So, and then I went to this little dance place, 12 noon. They drop little kids off there.
Sure, yeah.
So they go shopping. And Manfred Mann's Earth Band came there to play. They were playing the night in this ballroom. And they did a sound check and everything for us little kids. And I used to dance with these girls, and they used to say, "Oh yeah, that's great, thank you very much," and that was about it. And 12-year-old raging hormones are starting. And they got up there and they played 2 songs, and every girl in the place went completely crazy, screaming. And I said to my friends, "That's it.
That's it.
What,
That's it.
we got to." And I know how to. I got a toy drum kit, so I'm going to be the drummer. And that was the start of it. I've tried to learn how to play piano. Right? And I tried. I said, just teach me like I was a little kid. And the only thing I ever learned was middle C is somewhere near the lock.
Wow.
And even then, it's still a multiple choice for me. Guitars never understood tuning. Yeah, it's like, a lot of stuff like that. And Mike Campbell gave me a slide. He said, just take a slide. It'd be easy to slide the thing up and down. Still, can't play, no good. I can pick out tunes. I'm good at melodies, but I can't play. But I got to say, this is Jason. I played with lots of bass players that sang, and some of them are really good singers too, and really good bass players. Only not at the same time. When you sing and you're playing like some complicated bass note, it's really hard to sing. To get the motor skills, to be able to sing the melody and still stay stuck in the rhythm section, stay in that rhythm section. And this man does it the best I ever seen.
That's high praise. That's high praise.
He doesn't hand out compliments very. I'll tell you what. I heard somebody, and this is great. Somebody came up to us backstage and said to him, "Is he the best?" And I watched him like, he's not going to go, "Yeah, he's the best, man." And all of a sudden he said, and this is one of my favorite compliments I've ever received, and you pretty much just said it. He goes, "I'll tell you what, he's tied for the best singing bass player with Hamish Stewart, which was Average White Band." And I went, "I'll take it, man." I just also wanted to say that, what's funny is this is a great example. If you hone in and focus on one thing, if you have a gift like that, it's otherworldly, and it really is, because we talk about this all the time. And to play with him, I mean, this isn't just, no, you're the man, no, you're great, you're great.
Hold on, Jason, we got some people leaving to pee.
Yeah, it really is a
Wait till
truth.
they get back.
It's not the Scotsman. Scotsman's
It's
still
called.
here. We're doing all right.
It's almost like
Scotsman's still here.
Tristan Bowden used to say it. He goes, it's like power steering. It's like it plays itself, and so it's a privilege and an honor to play with you.
Yes, it is.
And I will just say, as far as an instrument that's hard to play, that's the hardest to play, is that just like we've talked about, I came up playing multiple instruments, and I play drums. I've never played drums, I don't think, in front of you or him, but I could sit down on a drum kit right now and play, and you go, wow, he plays. But when I've gone and recorded myself, it's the weirdest thing, because in my head I'm going, you're totally grooving, man. I mean, this is great.
You're so good at this.
I listen back, and I am the absolute kind of drummer that I hate playing
Bong,
with.
bong, bong, bong.
Late right foot, late, and I think, man, I was drilling it. Stick to your game, man. Let him do that.
Let the man do what he
Yeah.
does. Last question, then we'll get you gentlemen out of here. And this is a great question, actually. I've never received a question like this before. Michelle did not make it out to one of you, so I think she was aiming for one of you, but I'm going to ask all of you. Please tell us, and you can adapt this how you choose to, what are you either most grateful, her influence, or your favorite story about your moms?
Oh, great question.
Their influence on you, a moment, something you're grateful
Don't
about,
tempt me.
or their influence, a story, or grateful to your moms about. Jay, do you want to lead us off?
Oh, my mom. My mom was country music queen of Ohio in 1969 and got a Decca recording contract.
That's awesome.
And she chose to stay with my dad in Ohio and marry him and have me. So I'm grateful that she chose to stay with my dad and have me, but I would be remiss if I didn't say that the greatest gift my mother gave me was the gift of my faith and my belief in a God that is bigger than any of us, that is there. And
Good answer.
it has gotten, my faith in Jesus has gotten me through a many, many dark day in my life, and I will eternally be grateful to her for laying that foundation at an early age with
Great
me.
answer. Jay,
Jay for president, she said.
Jason
24.
Sheff. Jason Sheff, tell us something, a way she influenced you, something you're grateful for, something you appreciate your mom.
My mother, as well, is an incredible singer, piano player, and she always had bands. That's how she met my father. My father's one of the greatest bass players that ever lived. Played for Elvis. Play the blues, Jerry. And so they met and had me and my brother Darren, and they split up, but my mother raised me along with my grandmother. And my mother always saw my musical gift, like Jay's parents did in him, and was always putting the belief in me, you're going somewhere, you know. I was 14 years old, and I joined her band, joined the Musicians Union at 14 and became a professional, and started playing gigs with her. And it was the North Star in my life of like, you will go places with this. Now, I tried to sabotage it by being a typical kid and getting into some weird things and substances, you know, for a while there that derailed that. But the North Star was always there, and it came from my mother giving me the music. And I knew that I'd come out of it someday. And so, yeah, she's,
Great answer.
yeah.
Great answer. Mr. Ferroni, take us home, sir.
Okay. My mother was Betty Ferroni, actually Betty Banks. I was born in 1950. My mother wasn't married, which was scandalous back in those times there. Let alone the fact is that having a baby out of wedlock, but having a black baby out of wedlock was unheard of. My mother was courageous, and she decided that she wanted me, and she had me. She raised me. She was very strict with me. My grandmother, and my grandfather were there too, but more my grandmother as well. We have something in common. I didn't know about.
Same with me.
She would have been 15th of March the other day. She would have been 100 years old. She took me tap dancing lessons every Wednesday and Friday for years. I became really good at it from the age of 3 to the age of 12. And I broke her heart when I said, I'm not going to tap dance anymore, I'm going to play the drums. But she loved coming to see me play the drums, you know, and she loved Eric Clapton. She loved that song, Holy Mother, and she loved that song. And I'm grateful to my mother and my grandmother. They were the driving forces in me taking me to these tap dancing lessons, learning these wonderful songs from the American Songbook, tap dancing to songs like Begin the Begin. It was a musical experience, a way of learning music, learning the melodies, and learning how those melodies move rhythmically and dynamically within the song, which gave me the insight to songs that I've been able to play on so many hit records. I'm so grateful for what I get to do. Yeah, my mum was the best. Betty, I love you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Nothing like a question that can reduce three musical gods to just little kids again, right there, right in front. My mom said something my whole life that I think resonates for anyone in the world, and I think you three certainly will understand. She said, you know, when you have a child, that kid is born with roots. It's up to you to give them wings. Your kid is born knowing and having family and having roots. You always have your family, but it's up to you to teach them wings. And I think that sounds like all three of your mothers, that you were born with tradition and with family, but all three of them encouraged you to go out, be more, do more, and chase your dreams. And that's a beautiful thing. And I think we can all add that we are very grateful to your mothers for doing that, because we wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today if they hadn't done such a thing. I know this was a long one, but we deserved it, didn't we? These three gentlemen are going to sign some autographs for us just out there in just a second. Do me a favor. Please help me thank you. Jason Sheff, Jay DeMarcus, Steve Ferroni, otherwise known as Generation Radio. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you out in the valley.